What's going on, good people? Mayor Young with Fantastic Forum, and we are here with friend of the show, Eddie D'Angelini. Eddie, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's Wondercon.
Indeed, I know, right? And it's been a pretty amazing show. How's it been going for you?
It's been going really well. The weekend was really good. Artist Alley here has just been jumping like crazy.
Good.
It was packed.
Good,
The rows
good.
are packed.
I'm glad to hear it, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. So, man, we just wanted to come and talk to you and find out, get an update. What's new with collectors? What are you working on lately? Talk to us.
Well, number 7 is in the works.
Okay.
Should be coming out later in the year. But since the last time you and I talked,
Yeah.
I did manage to finally put out a collector's trade paperback.
Nice.
So issues 1, 2, and 3 for the longest time were completely sold out. So
You're too good.
I got tired of coming to shows and having 4, 5, and 6, and then everyone saying, "Well, you got number 1? I'm gonna start with number 1."
Right.
And I'd never had it, and it lost sales. Even though I tell them, "Hey, man, you can jump in anywhere and enjoy
Right.
it." So now, hey, they can get number 1, 2, and 3 all in one big book.
Nice,
Yeah.
man, nice. And that's classic material too. So it's like
Yes.
it is going to be a joy for the people that are are currently reading collectors, for them to be able to go back and
Yeah.
finally see the genesis of it all.
Yeah.
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 So how are things for you industry wise or whatnot? How are things at the store?
Things are all right. We kind of weathered through the whole pandemic
Right.
and the whole looting incident and all
Right.
that, and things really picked up. Kind of in a bit of a slow period right now, but that's okay. I think everyone's just being a little tight with their money, and I can
Okay.
understand that.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, preparing for that for the rest of the year. If people kind of want to, be a little more stingy with their money, that's fine. Things are tight everywhere. We
Right.
Get it.
Right.
Nature of business, you got ups, you got downs.
Right.
So we plan for it, and we're good. One thing most importantly, I keep telling everybody, we got great staff. I got really, really good staff that work hard and they're loyal because we treat them right.
Yeah.
So that's where it all is. The most important thing is right there. That's where it all starts.
And tell the people, if they happen to be local, tell them about the shop and where to come to and whatnot.
Well, if you're in Santa Monica area, come down to Heidi Ho Comics at 1803 Lincoln Boulevard and spend your money there.
Indeed, you should definitely do that. No, and so tell me about your thoughts just in regards to sales in the industry in general right now. Obviously you all are, well, I'll say sales data is hard to come by in this day and age.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have, of course, your own anecdotal experiences, or well, I should say anecdotal, your real world experiences from the shop. How do you feel about the direction that the industry is heading? How do you feel about what's moving, what's not moving? I would love to hear, some firsthand thoughts in that regard.
I can only give my particular examples. There is some data out there that backs up what I believe, what I'm going to say.
Okay. Say it with your chest either way, Eddie. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Don't look. Tell them what you think.
Here's what I am predicting.
Uh-huh.
We all love our monthly floppy books.
Of course.
They're not going to be around forever.
Oh, wow. Man, look, I got one tear.
Hey, no,
One tear coming down.
I think they will always survive, but they're going to become more and more of a specialty item. They're going to become more and more of a niche item within the comic industry.
Gotcha.
The entire industry is really, really kind of seen sales-wise and just industry-wise as far as what people are trying to do, are pushing more towards trade paperbacks and original graphic novels. It's just natural. It's easier to get new readers when they can get one big complete story in one book rather than try to get them into the shop every week and tell them, well, you want to start with this volume number 1, not
Right.
that one. You got this series here crosses over to that
Right.
one. People get confused when they're new readers and they tend to just not even bother.
I hear
But
you.
if you can give them a book that's a complete story or a good starting point, you hook them.
Yeah.
And with comic shops, unfortunately, not given the full respect by the industry as they should.
I hear you.
You've got a lot of bigger publishers and distributors that are working more towards getting graphic novels and trade paperbacks into bookstores and other places like that.
Yeah.
Because those places can order in large numbers.
Wow.
And so they're going to get a little more catered to. Individual little mom and pop owned comic shop, is not going to get that same kind of treatment.
Of course.
So unfortunately, the writing, I think, has been on the wall for a long time that it's going to start moving towards trade paperbacks and original graphic novels. You might see, well, people say, well, how can trade paperbacks come out if the individual monthly books don't come out first for them to put together? You're going to see instances, I think, of where people are just going to go directly to trade paperbacks, and you see it with smaller publishers. They'll put out a first issue of a miniseries, and then just go straight to the trade paperback. There'll be no other issues in that miniseries.
Yeah.
You're going to see more trends like that happening with the big two, I think, over time.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I mean, and I can say, which, you know, as a fan of comic books and a reader myself, that, you know, there's definitely, I mean, we've been slowly going further and further away from the idea of stories like every comic could be somebody's first issue, like, you know, not, and it's not to say that every story had to be completely self-contained, but it felt like writers were writing in such a way where they were catering to the idea that somebody that wasn't following the story from the beginning could pick up this issue in the middle, and so let me make sure that, you know, they're along for the ride with us. But I feel like that barely happens in this day and age.
No, it doesn't, because already you've got the industry, you've got creators and publishers that are catering to the trade paperback. They're doing a story arc within a main series that is specifically 5 to 6 issues long, so it can go straight to a trade paperback. They're already thinking about how is this going to be in a trade paperback form, as opposed to, hey, if someone jumps in on issue 3 of this particular story arc, are they going to be able to understand what's going on? I don't think they really are too concerned, because they're more thinking about the final product, which is going to be compiled in a trade paperback. So you might even end up where, I predicted this, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it might be a feasible thing where instead of a lot of books, instead of them coming out monthly, may start coming out quarterly in larger formats. You know, you've got that happening in other countries. You know, they might start gearing towards that. Something like Batman or X-Men, that'll come out every month because that's a popular series. But a less popular series that can't survive monthly, maybe it'll come out quarterly.
One of
in an annual format. You know,
one of the books that I really enjoy that is an indie book that did exactly that, Lazarus, and I know that, you know, I'm a big fan of that, and they were putting out issues like kind of sporadically, and then at one point they're like, hey, we just want to let you know we're moving to a quarterly format, and sure enough they did do like a more prestige quarterly format, and you know, you got to wait every like 3 months for it to drop, but you know you're gonna get more pages, and that lets the artists, you know, get the books in. So look, I mean, I think what you're saying, at least in my personal experience, has already started to happen. Wow.
Yeah. And I was saying this years ago.
Man. So, okay, going back to the collectors, you know, you showed us, like, you have the collected edition for people if they want to start at the beginning. If people have been following along for the journey, what's the latest edition that they should make sure they should be looking for that?
Well, like I said, number 7 is in the works. The work is already done. It just needs to get formatted and put it together, ready for a printer, and then run a Kickstarter. And then probably, you know, for the next con later in the year that I do, I'll have the 7th book. I've already teased the cover online, so
nice.
So you can take a look at what it's going to look like from the outside.
And there it is. And like with that said, tell the people where they can find you online, and if they want to go ahead and, like, say if they don't happen to be able to come to the shop or come to a local show, where they can purchase online.
Well, they can always read my weekly comic strip for collectors free online at collectorscomic.com, and while you're there, you can pick up any of the books there. And a lot of the books contain comic strips that are no longer on the website, so it's kind of like archive material that you can only get in the books. And every book always has original material, like a 4, 5, or 6 page original story that was never online.
Nice.
Collectorscomic.com.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie D'Angelini.